Hello, everyone. I'm here with Wendy Rosenthal, health coach, and we're going to talk today about how self-care rituals are essential for our well-being and many, many other things. Wendy and I met, I think, in Kim Luna's, I think it was in the Freedom Hackers group, maybe.
I think it was Periscope.
Or it was, it was Periscope. And I think it was in Zach.
It was through SAG. Somehow we ended up connecting through SAG, this guy who teaches us about Periscope and all that. And you follow me and then I follow you.
Yes. Oh yeah. And then we were talking and then you were talking about health coaching and then I was asking you a ton of questions and you're like, who is this person? But it was good. It was good. And so then we ended up working together and Wendy is in the Singularity Circle. And she's been creating lots of different things. She just got back from South America, and her story of why she became a health coach is really, really inspiring. So I'm going to let Wendy share her big why of what sparked everything for her and why she does the work she does today. And then at the end, we're going to share a really exciting thing that Wendy has planned with us. So Wendy, let us know, invite us into your world for a little bit and let me know what was the moment that you realized I need to shift my lifestyle.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity, for being here and connecting with people. And thinking back, and this is one question a lot of people ask me, how do you become a health coach? Or the main thing, because I often talk about self-care, taking care of ourselves, really understanding how our body works, our mind. And people ask me, why do you promote that? What came about that? And so depending who I'm talking with, I do share my story. I'm more open about it now than before because growing up, I was always very, shy and trying to protect myself pretty much. But now I do believe that a lot of us have something to share, whether it's a story, an inspiring story, or maybe our challenges or something that we can learn, from each other. So basically for me, it was about 4 years ago. I thought I was a happy child. I thought I was a happy woman going, doing the things that I was supposed to do, going to work, connecting with people in general. I had my goals and dreams. But there was still something missing. There was something that I just didn't feel satisfied at the end of the day. And little by little throughout the years, I kind of found myself, a little bit drained after a busy day at work. Connecting with people, but then at the same time not feeling really that connection. And then as you mentioned, I went to South America. I am from Peru. So I grew up and I was born and grew up there. And then when I came up here to the States when I was 17, it was a little shock, a cultural shock, getting to meet people and learning about opening up, as a new person here. So with that, and then doing my thing, at work and connecting with people, as I said, I was feeling that I wasn't really getting what I was hoping for as an adult, when I was thinking about growing up and all that when I was little. And I guess I had all these expectations when I came to the States also. And I ended up seeing myself working too much, working and getting stressed after a long day of work. And in a way, not really taking care of myself. And of course, at that time, I didn't realize this. And then later on, as I really started learning about my body, about receiving these messages from our bodies, our mind, I came to realize that I was getting all these messages, but not really paying attention to them. And so 4 years ago is when it kind of hit me in a way that I needed to go to the doctor to check on some things that I was feeling, some sort of symptoms. And eventually, after a few months of testings, talking to different types of doctors, trying to understand, why I'm so young yet feeling all these different kind of pains, which at the end is interesting because all these symptoms was for something completely unrelated. But then it led us to discovering that I had cancer. So that's when I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is interesting because I did have symptoms of that. It's for those of you who maybe not know much about it, it's a very slow growing type of cancer that affects the lymphatic system. So affects the immune system. So the symptoms I was having was for something else. Yet I was still, like trying to work so fast, like getting all these things done that I wanted to get done. But yet, like having to sit there at the doctor's office, having to be there with so many questions, yet I couldn't really find the answers. I was kind of started to think I need to do something, not just for myself, but then at the same time, like I always felt that I had something to share, but I didn't know why. And at that moment when I'm sitting, there was one time when I was waiting for my doctor's appointment and I was by myself. Most of the time I went with my mom or friends, but I was all with myself, and it felt really uncomfortable. It didn't feel real to me, and it felt really sad. I was kind of sad and not liking that moment. And I thought, imagine how many more people are out there feeling like this. And then I kind of thought, what if I do something about it? What if I share what I'm going through with people, and in a way being there to share not only my story, but share things that maybe they can use to benefit their life, their lifestyle, their health. So that's when I really came into look at myself in the mirror and see myself a little bit different, and learning more about myself, and really having that commitment of making changes and making that promise to myself that I have to try anything I can to really better my lifestyle, to get healthier, educate myself, and then also do the same with other people.
What do you think shifted when you made the promise to yourself? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I should eat healthy. Yeah, I should take care of myself. But then that's, I think, a really big distinction. Like, you made a promise to yourself.
Could be. I think it's because I, growing up, I had different things to deal with. Like, I was the only child. My parents were divorced. I grew up with my grandparents and not having my mom and dad around. So there was something missing. It felt like something always was missing. And then facing myself in the mirror and seeing that all my dreams, that I had, for a moment, they were just like, crumbled to the floor. And I didn't want that. I kind of talked to myself, and I did a lot of self-talking, which is still as part of my ritual, as a self-care ritual. I kind of talked to myself, and I thought, instead of really feeling sad or depressed, like, I want that Wendy who was little and grew up in all these different, situations, to really be happy. And when I made that promise, it was mainly because I didn't want to feel lonely. I kind of realized that the one person to really start doing something for a change, it was me. Like, I couldn't rely on anyone, whether it's the medical system or my family. I had to really understand that the power is in me, and that I had to make the changes. And the very first thing that eventually took a while, but the first thing that always comes to mind when I think about making our lives better, healthier, and happier is really working within ourselves and doing a lot of self-care. It's really doing a lot of understanding, being compassionate towards ourselves. And then that way we can also be compassionate with other people and teach more of that. Because we do need to find all this holistic way of taking care of each other, rather than going out and looking for treatments or things that, if we can take care of that now and, on our own, it'll be best.
This is really good. So if you could start the self-care practice now, you won't have to deal with all of those other things a little bit later. So as you decided and you made this promise to yourself, what were a few actions that you started taking that shifted your lifestyle?
So as I said, I started talking more to myself. I guess it's part of me being the only child and kind of playing by myself sometimes, even though I have my cousins and friends to play with. But I started really, first of all, watching what I ate and being mindful about it, being grateful. I think being grateful is something very important, because most times we take things for granted. And so grateful about the food that I'm eating, being careful about the things that I'm putting inside of my body and as well as on the outside. I did a lot of mind work, and I think another very important component of self-care, and it really applies for anyone who's going through any kind of difficult situation, any trauma, any diagnosis, and for me in particular, and also because I've seen it in the cancer community where I belong. I'm very active in a community where I see cancer patients, survivors, caregivers all the time. And the one thing that is common for a lot of us who are part of a support group is mindset, is positive mindset. So that's the one thing that I try to practice every day, keeping, my thoughts in a positive way, because anything we say is a statement, is an affirmation. So the more positive we try to make them, the better we are at really embracing anything around us with a good way of, with a good outlook. And I've learned so much, even from the cancer patients who really are going through harder times than myself. And they're still very positive about things, and yet they're still thinking no matter what's going to happen, they're always living one day at a time, but really making the best they can. And I think that's something that I really appreciate from them. And I really hope, and I try to bring that out to people, always keep yourself being positive, no matter how hard life is. I have my notes that I read in the morning. I have a few laying around. Another thing that has helped me a lot is journaling. It's really, for me, a good way to empty what's going on in my mind. Talking helps because you want to express yourself, but sometimes there's some things that you might not want to say to people, or maybe that one person that you really have some sort of feelings or emotions towards. For me, journaling, and also have journals everywhere that I just keep around, like anything, ideas, whether it is with business, whether it's with work. I have a journal that is all about gratitude. So anything where I can put down my feelings, my emotions, it really helps me to declutter my mind so that I can be more focused in what I need to do each day.
And
also,
I like those because go ahead. Oh, water. Yes. Drinking a lot of water. Staying hydrated.
So one thing that I just wanted to mention is that with self-care, it's really, some of these things are simple things that we need to start implementing into our lives, bring back into our lives. And so some of them are super simple and almost like common sense, yet we forget because we are living so fast. So, in a rush to finish things done, or going home and cooking and like taking care of the kids. And then we are drained at the end of the day. So a good way for me is to like always try to remind people about that. Did you remember to drink enough water for today? Did you make sure that you get enough sleep? Understanding why we do those things too, because it's not just going to bed and sleeping 6-8 hours. It's really understanding why we do that so that we appreciate ourselves more. Because I do believe that the more we know and learn about all these different things that have to do with our lives, the better we understand them, the more we're going to keep that promise of doing those changes for ourselves.
So the education is power then.
It is.
It's true. I know you're working on some really cool projects and building your community. Now that you've gone through this process and you've created your own rituals, you've created your own transformation in a way, how are you now using technology to share your message?
So it's something very exciting because, as I said, it's something that I'm really getting out, to share with people. They get to know more about me, what I have to say, what I've been going through. It's like, even though people see me happy and all that, it's a challenge that every day we have to wake up to, like whether it's something related to our health or our mind. And so for me, the way I can share with people, I have a community of people around me, online and offline, that in a way, it's really my hope to get to more people, so that really, as you said, education is really the key. And I will really say for people, don't get overwhelmed or like a little scared by that word of educating ourselves, but really it's just reading about it, doing some research, connecting with people. And so that's the one thing that I try to do, making those connections with people. Online, I have a website. So you guys, if you want to check all the things that I do, my blogs, I also share my recipes as far as food, trying to implement healthy food into my cooking and share that with people. I have healthcare tips, and then also I have, every so often I'm going to be implementing new programs or new things that I'm sharing. And you can find me at wendyrosenthal.com. That's my website. And so in there, I bring out all these different things for people so that they can have them available. I also am highly active on social media, on Facebook, for example, and often I'm in there doing Facebook Live. So short videos where I share things that I do. Like one day I'll do a facial mask. I'm like, hey guys, guess what I'm doing? Today is Self-Care Sunday. Remember to do something for yourself today, and coming out and just talking. And some people might be asking questions, or some people maybe have some ideas that they might want to give me, which I'm more than welcome to always open up that line of communication. And so, so you guys can also find me on Facebook. I also have a Facebook group that again is my goal to have this supportive community around us. So anything that we share is within us, and we can always support each other. And the group, you can find it also on Facebook, is Your Wellness Lounge. So because my idea is really to treat it as a lounge kind of place that we just go hang out, have a drink, have a like a little wine if you want, because it's also okay to treat ourselves with some wine.
Yes, and, those antioxidants and the resveratrol in the wine is really good for you.
Exactly. So always think. So the whole thing about healthy eating and healthy lifestyle is not really depriving yourself. It's learning what it is that you're having, being aware of it and really having a good time. Sometimes people think or have the misconception that as a health coach, all we do is drink green juices and eating lettuce or kale. And I went to Peru, and that's what my family or friends were saying. And I'm like, well, I do that most times, but I also like to have fun.
Yes.
By doing other things. And it's all about moderation, having a great time. If I do a little bit more of one thing, the next day I try to kind of like come down to where I am and where I'm trying to go, and kind of like clean myself up.
Yeah, it's a nice balance. And I think the lounge is a really great space where people can share their recipes, they can share what they're eating, what they're drinking. And I know you have an upcoming really fun thing that I am excited for with the self-care retreat. But if you want to share a little bit more about that and what that's going to look like.
Yes, so it's very exciting because I do really try to practice and have people be more aware of self-care rituals. And that's what really I call them. From early in the morning when I wake up, trying to, be mindful about things, whether it's with meditation or journaling. So what I'm running, starting August 15, that's the first day when I will be running a self-care. It's a 5-day self-care challenge where for those 5 days, so it's from Monday to Friday, each day people are going to be getting an email from me with a reminder, a tip, like, hey, today's tip is about this. And then I'll give them some instructions or some ideas or share what I've done for that particular tip of the day. So that'll be going for those 5 days. And then so that's Monday through Friday. And then on the Saturday, so that'll be the 24th. So on that day, it will be our big day of crafting their self-care retreat at home. So basically it's kind of like having a little, like a whole day to yourself, but only to yourself, and almost like having a spa day. And I'll give you, tips and ways where you can customize it to yourself, where you can start your whole day. Basically, the way I see it is the more, we have to take care of ourselves. We really give us that gift of time, dedicating that time to oneself. And so it's like having a date with yourself, like have a nice meal, either offer it to your family, but also think about yourself first, because sometimes I understand that some of us might have family or kids or might not have just one day to oneself, but maybe make that effort to send them away.
Yeah. That one day where it's like, it's mom's spa day. Okay.
Exactly.
Go take the kids outside, or I'm going to call in a babysitter, because I tell people this, if you are, you have a new job or something, you're going to find a babysitter, you're going to send your kids here, you're going to find somebody, you're going to find a way to make this job work. Mm-hmm. It's whatever you're prioritizing. And if you're not prioritizing yourself, nobody else will.
Exactly. It is true. And I think my hope is for, at least for that one day, people can have the experience and learn that some of these tips are very actionable. if they prepare in advance, for example, like someone could be, like using essential oils, like how to make your own mask and things like that. Instead of going and buying those products or going to the spa, you can do them yourself at home. Just get a couple little things. So they will understand that some of these things they can prep in advance, but yet it's really easy to implement them. So maybe the more they start doing them, they might not need to send the kids, somewhere else or have a babysitter. They can just have that 1 hour at home, in their room and have, like a relaxing moment, or learning a little bit about meditation. That sometimes people get a little scared about meditating because they think it's very elaborated, and sometimes it's not. You might just need a few minutes, and it's really understanding what goes into it. What is the purpose for that too? So that's what will happen that Saturday for the retreat at home. It's really having that moment to yourself. Grab your favorite music, play your favorite music, dance if you want, so we can talk more about that. It's really being yourself. And obviously the best way and the best place for you to be yourself is at home. And so nobody can judge you, nobody can say anything. You can walk around with a mask if you want.
Yes.
So it's very exciting, because I do believe we need to start implementing more of these little rituals into our everyday life. And of course, sharing them to the world with other people.
Yeah, because I think now with social media and sharing our story is, if I'm doing this, it's through our example that we are allowing other people and giving them permission to also be themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think that another it's kind of interesting, because as I'm working, with people or thinking about being a health coach, and then how I'm kind of, going with the flow and where things take me, and then talking about self-care. And in a way, when the other day I was thinking about it, really is making, having people feel comfortable with themselves, taking care of themselves, getting to learn about their body, their mind, how it works together with everything around them, that eventually will make them healthier, will make them happier. Because really being healthy, it really takes time and understanding. But once you get that, you will learn about making those good choices for yourself to be healthy. You'll know what's, the good type of food that you should eat, and what's the one that you shouldn't eat, And so that's my goal, so that people really, once they start learning more about themselves, they can really appreciate their body and really appreciate the things that they do, and making good decisions. And then in all, really, so that we can really be the best we can for other people and share our story. I also believe that we all have something to share, even though some people might think that their life is just like nothing exciting. But I do believe that we all have something, and we just need to kind of let that out. And the best way is to really start expressing ourselves, taking care of ourselves, feeling comfortable. And I have seen that in myself, like growing up really shy and not really being open to share my feelings and emotions. And I guess it's that one thing that once you're hit, by something, or you hit the wall, you kind of look back and start looking at your life and saying, okay, maybe I need to, if I've lived all this way throughout my 30-something years, and things are not, they're not that very well, maybe I need to do something and change. And sometimes, unfortunately, for some people, it has to be coming down with a disease or some sort of condition.
Yeah, so now guys, don't wait till that happens. You could go to wendyrosenthal.com, and mid-August in 2016, she is doing this self-care retreat where you could learn to craft and create and plan out your own self-care retreat at home. So you don't necessarily have to go to the spa. If you want to go to the spa that day, great. But if this is something that you can start practicing now, even like Wendy said, it's like an hour. It's not super long, but it's being intentional. Like, this is my time, and I'm going to take care of myself, so that way I can now serve others, and I can share my story confidently, and I can feel good about myself. So thank you, Wendy, so much for joining me on the summit today. And for those of you joining live and the replay viewers, do connect with Wendy. Wendy, one more time, where can we find you online?
Yes, so you can find me online in my website for sure, wendyrosenthal.com. And in there, you'll find the invitation to the Self-Care Challenge and Retreat, which is going to be very, very fun, starting August 19th. So, and then obviously, on Facebook, because everyone is on Facebook. So no excuses. Find me there. Just look under Wendy Rosenthal. Also, going back to my website, down at the bottom of my front page, there will be an invitation to join my group. So also we can make connections through my group and also connect with other people, share our stories, our experiences, support each other. So those are the main things. And then there's other ways, but I don't know if I want to name them all, like
The main ones.
Because you can either find me as Wendy Rosenthal on Facebook, or also Wendy for Wellness. That's my Facebook page. So, and then that's also my Periscope handle. So if you guys are on Periscope, find me.
Yes.
Look me under Wendy for Wellness.
Beautiful. Thank you again, Wendy, and we will all see each other on the summit and, of course, online.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Isabel.
Bye.